Aloha and welcome to Tea Time with Mantis, the Colosseum, Rome, Italy edition. I was at the Colosseum in Rome on the 4th of July in the year 2025. While in front of the Colosseum, I pulled 3 cards to represent the energy of that particular spot. The 3 cards that flew out of the deck when I shuffled were the Queen of Swords, the Ace of Cups, and the Two of Swords. And when I looked at the bottom of the deck, there was the Emperor, and underneath the Emperor was the King of Wands. For me, the bottom card of the deck is the Shadow card, which represents the underlying energy or hidden influences that are affecting the situation. Here are some facts about the Colosseum in Rome. It was built about 2,000 years ago. The official name was the Flavian Amphitheater. Emperor Flavian, or Emperor Flavius, actually built the Colosseum with spoils of war. General Titus conquered Jerusalem in AD 70, and he returned to Rome with 110,000 pounds of gold and silver. And the Emperor Flavius spent that entire amount on building the arena. Not only did General Titus bring hundreds of thousands of pounds of gold and silver from Jerusalem, he also brought many, many, many slaves. So I think it's safe to say that the Colosseum in Rome was built on Jerusalem gold and silver and by the slaves from Jerusalem brought back. When I think of 2 cards that could represent the building of the Colosseum, the 2 cards that I would think of would be the Emperor fueled by the King of Wands. And it sort of blows my mind that that's actually the card at the bottom of the deck. When I think of the emperors of Rome, I think about narcissism and real true narcissists. Not just narcissistic tendencies, but the true meaning of narcissistic personality disorders. Truly, every person on this planet has narcissistic tendencies. We also all have empathetic tendencies as well. The definition of narcissistic is a person having an excessive or erotic interest in oneself and or one's appearance. There are certain cards in the tarot deck that represent narcissistic tendencies for me. The kings and queens that represent narcissism to me would be the King and Queen of Swords and the King and Queen of Wands. The 7 of Swords and the 5 of Swords energy also represent narcissistic tendencies to me, but more of a immature narcissist. Whereas the kings and the queens, well, they have crowns, so they have a different level of maturity and awareness. So to me, a king or queen in their narcissistic energy is a malicious energy. Now, the emperor represents all 4 kings' energies together, and the empress represents all 4 queens' energies together. If you were to look at the emperor's energy from a negative polarity, that would be a male or masculine energy that would be more than just a narcissistic personality disorder. It would probably be more like a psychopath or a sociopath. And the same with the empress in her negative polarity. Both would be highly manipulative and highly effective at stealing energy, draining energy, siphoning energy from other people. Not only did the Emperor come out on the bottom of the deck, fueled by the King of Wands, but the Queen of Swords came out as well. Those are 3 cards that could represent the narcissistic energy of being excessively or erotically interested only in oneself. The 3 cards that flew out of the deck are interesting in the way that they have a very dominant emotional component, as well as the color blue and gray are very dominant. The color blue is the color of the throat chakra, communication and truth and clarity. The color blue can represent emotions, It can represent calm and spirituality, or the spiritual aspects of life. Your spiritual aspect is really your internal aspect. And how do we measure our internal aspects? By the emotions we feel and the thoughts we think. The color gray is a color of neutrality, wisdom, balance, humility, and intellect. It also can be a color for me of indecision. Now, the Queen of Swords is the one queen out of all the queens that is the most uninviting. She's the queen that the other three queens do not invite to lunch. They don't want to have tea with her. They don't really want to communicate with her at all. And this stems from the fact that she is very cold and indifferent in her communications. But if I had to leave my kingdom to a queen while I went on vacation, it would be the Queen of Swords. She would make those hard decisions that no one else could make, and they would be extremely well thought out and calculated. Now the King of Wands, on the other hand, he's the life of the party. He's full of passion. He's got the best jokes. He's just an all-around fun guy to be with. However, if I was going on vacation, the King of Wands would be the last king I let rule my kingdom while I was away. I would come back and there would be all kinds of disorder, I'm sure. Now, the Ace of Cups is the heart. It represents empathy, a full cup of love. The Ace of Cups can represent new beginnings in love and relationships. It can represent emotional fulfillment and the beginning of a spiritual journey. The divine is offering a pathway of love with an open hand and an open heart. You can trust your intuition, and it's an opportunity to foster your inner peace. The Two of Swords is a card of indecision. It's someone that hasn't ascended into mastery like the kings and the queens. This is a person that really needs to do some self-work, that probably needs to work on their inner child. But in this position, this person is willing to do the work. They've blindfolded themselves so that they can go inward and do that work. This is a person that is trying to control and hold back their emotions. They don't realize that being vulnerable is actually the strongest position you can be in. Being authentic to yourself is the strongest position that you can be in. So bringing these archetypal energies together and grounding them here in the 3D world in July 2025, we vibe to the conclusion that the energy of this location is still, after 2,000 years, that of the ultimate divine masculine energy of action, inspired action. It also feels like this action is interlaced with frequencies of influence, domination, ego-driven inspiration, self-satisfaction, the illusion of protection, the illusion of being a community benefactor, or actually being a community benefactor. It depends on how you define what is beneficial to your community. Also, there is a very strong frequency of purpose and projecting that purpose onto the community. I read the energy of the three cards that flew out of the deck as we all have the ability and the power to act from a place of narcissism and from a place of empathy. We each make that choice every single day with every decision that we make. Truly, there are only but two choices, two courses of action that one person may choose. You can act in a fear-based frequency, or you can choose to act in a love-based frequency. Fear-based frequencies will bring a person to the karma/fate cycle, and love-based frequencies, they bring a person to a dharma destiny, co-creative frequency. It's in this dharmic co-creative frequency that you are the creator of your own life, of your own path. You control your own destiny. We all have the free will to choose which path you're going to take. Are you going to choose the fear path frequencies? Are you going to choose the love path frequencies?